1993 National League champion Phillies Mickey Morandini and Kevin Stocker. And they're both here, and they've already been signing some of your autographs. Now, as we do each week, we want to properly introduce these guests. We never really want to take them for granted. I mean, these are two stars right here. Mickey Morandini, a co-host on about a third of the shows this year with me, and he's doing a tremendous job in that regard. Played for the Phillies from 1990 through 2000, and he was a all-star second baseman, National League all-star second baseman in 1995. And, both of these guys are out of big-time colleges. Mickey went to Indiana University in Bloomington from the Big Ten. And clapping loudest for him out of the University of Washington, Kevin Stocker.
But now Big Ten.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, they're in the Big Ten, too.
They are now.
Well, they each have many accomplishments. And, among Mickey's, and he threw out the first ball, as you know. He was on the 1988 gold medal Olympic baseball team of the United States. And he threw out the first ball before one of the Phillies games in the last homestand. And Mickey is one of the few people who can claim an unassisted triple play. There's only been, I think, Mickey, 15 in Major League history.
15.
Less than perfect games. They don't come around that often. But he authored one in Pittsburgh, which is, where he grew up in that area as a Pirates fan. But we're glad he's been converted through and through.
He's converted.
He's all Phillies. Ladies and gentlemen, former Phillies All-Star second baseman, number 12, Mickey Morandini.
And you could say, and gold medalist.
Gold medalist.
Yes,
cool.
yes.
And they're coming to L.A., 28.
And, hey, did you guys see the closing ceremony last night? That was spectacular.
I watched some of it. Yeah.
Holy smokes! Paris did a good job. Well, let's give your partner a proper introduction.
Let's do that.
And
I won today.
Second round draft pick of the Phillies in 1991, out of the University of Washington. He played with the Phillies from 93 through 97. And when the Phillies needed to solidify the shortstop position in the middle of 1993, they called upon Kevin, and all he did was bat .324 in the 70 games that he played that season at shortstop, about half the season. Pretty darn good. And he also had 4 hits in the NLCS and 4 hits in the World Series. In November of 1997, Kevin was traded for Bobby Abreu. And, Mickey was traded for Doug Glanville. So not only did they produce as players and contribute greatly, but because they were both so highly regarded, they brought a good return in trade value. So they're the gifts that keep on giving. Ladies and gentlemen,
Dan.
number 19, Phillies shortstop, Kevin Stocker.
I'm clapping. I'm helping.
And a scratch golfer.
And who won today?
Won today.
He won
Won
the
today.
tournament
Tell us
today.
about that.
The team, we had 5 on the team, big scramble. It was at the Darren Dalton Foundation, one of the tournaments. Great cause, wonderful tournament. Our group had a great round, and they got first place, so they all went up to get their prize, and they were one short. So I didn't get one. But other than that, it was great.
My goodness.
Obviously, you don't need a rangefinder the way you
No,
go.
it was fine. We had such a good time. It was great. Great cause.
Well, we're glad that you're here tonight. And you know, ladies and gentlemen, Kevin is the Phillies radio analyst for all of our away games, and Larry Anderson does the majority of home games. So the Phillies are well covered in that area between L.A. and Kevin Stocker. Kevin, you're really doing a terrific job.
Thank you. I appreciate that. No, thanks.
And one of the things I like about your analysis, it's very honest, very even-handed, but you'll tell it like it is. And
I try to.
And
Yeah.
I think fans really appreciate that. They don't want everything made to sound like it's great
Right.
when it isn't.
Right.
Nobody can do that, you know. And now let me ask you both this, and Mickey and I talked about this last week when we had Howie Bedell on. Do you remember Howie Bedell, Kevin?
I can't say that I do.
He was the director of the Phillies minor leagues and late 70s and 80s.
Okay.
And then eventually had the same jobs. And like with the World Series, like with the Phillies in 1980, he won World Series rings in that role for not only the Phillies, but also the Kansas City Royals and who was the other? Oh, the Cincinnati Reds.
Reds, yeah.
Lou
Okay.
Piniella in 1990. He had quite a career. But in trying to analyze this Phillies team, it looked like we were way out in front, and we were, and playing very well with one of the best starts ever to a Phillies baseball season. Now, one criticism that the media claimed was that we were playing a fairly easy schedule the first half of the year, and now we're into a schedule where many of our opponents have better than 500 records. I thought we kind of turned it around, and then we lost the last three in Arizona. Kevin, where do we stand right now?
Oh, where do we stand? They're scuffling. They're playing better than getting through the road trip. They were almost finished at 500. So a few of the guys kind of figured out their offensive woes when you talk about the offense. Harp swinging the bat better. The problem right now, if you go just on the offense, and we'll talk about pitching in a second, but this team, beginning of the year out of spring training, everybody was talking about how long the lineup is, right? So 1 through 7, sometimes 8, everybody was hitting. That's what they expected. Didn't care about Rojas and 9, and so on. What's happening right now is they're getting 1 through 4. The lineup is so short. So the top 4 guys, and that's with Harp just starting to hit in L.A. Those 4 guys at the top are trying to carry the entire lineup right now because Stott's struggling, Marsh is struggling, JT is still struggling, and Castellanos thankfully is getting some hits, but they're just not enough right now, not well-rounded enough in the lineup. So you mix that in with a bullpen that's having all kinds of problems throwing strikes. Like critically, there was a point there for about 2 or 3 weeks where if you watch the bullpen come in and try to throw strikes, JT was crawling all over the place behind the plate trying to catch balls because they throw so hard and was just miserable trying to throw strikes. So they're either missing big, walking a few guys, or they're throwing it down the middle and against some of these good teams that are hot. Like Arizona was hot. Seattle got hot for a few games. You can't live there at this level. So it was like this perfect storm. Arizona didn't go well, but at least some of the guys are starting to hit a little bit better. I still think the pitching right now has got to pick it up out of the bullpen side. But there's a little bit of concern on some of those guys, and then injuries kick in. Austin Hayes went down. We still don't have Ranger back. Taiwan will be back. So I still think they're going to be fine. Everybody's saying fine, fine, fine. But at some point you'd like to see the improvement on a steady pace to get back to where they were, or at least close to it. And I think it's coming.
Mickey, when you were analyzing where the Phillies stand last Monday when we were at Chickies and Pete's in Malvern, you said a lot of the same things that Kevin just talked about. Now, since that time, we've lost 3 out of 4 to Arizona. You still feel the same way? Have you changed at all? Is there a little more concern? Or
No, not yet. When we went into this tailspin, I think we had like a 9-game lead, maybe 10.
Yeah.
And we're still up 7.5 games, so the Braves aren't playing any. Braves aren't even in a playoff spot right now. And the Mets played better for a while there, but they're not playing very good right now. So we still have a 7.5 game lead with maybe 6 weeks to go.
Right.
There's concern, sure. But everybody plays the same schedule, so I don't really buy the easy schedule, hard schedule thing. When it's all said and done, everybody plays the same teams, the same amount of time, especially in your division. So, like Stock said, the offense has to pick it up. I'm more concerned with the pitching aspect of it. Sanchez has not been the same. Nola's not been the same. We've lost a couple guys in the rotation, and the bullpen's been awful. Strom, Hoffman, and Alvarez, who were lights out for a long time, they've really struggled in the second half. So those guys got to pick it up and get back to where they were. But for them to play 700 baseball the whole year, it wasn't going to happen. So. They just hang on right here, keep battling, keep fighting. They'll get out of this, and they'll be fine.
I really like the acquisition, Mickey and Kevin, of Carlos Estevez. I think he's got a big arm, and that gives you another late bullpen piece to go to. And it looks like he's going to be the closer. It was more or less with Rob Thompson, bullpen by committee. But, Kevin, I think they've settled upon Carlos as the closer.
Yeah. Yeah, Estevez, what a nice guy. And he's real personable. He's extremely big. I mean, like physically big. He does have a big arm. I don't know that it's bigger than like Alvarado's or as far as like velocity, right? The one thing that I've noticed in the short span that we've seen him, I haven't seen him throw a lot. He hasn't had a ton of chances, though, is – one, he's not intimidated. He likes getting the ball at the back end. And two, his command is really good with his stuff. So he can command the ball down and away 2 or 3 pitches in a row. Okay, so if I look at Jeff Hoffman, who's got really big stuff, great slider, or if you look at Kirkring's another good example, they have a hard time, I think, commanding back-to-back pitches. Whereas Estevez, it's nice to see him hit the outside corner. And I think it makes it easier, a little easier for JT, a little tougher on the umpire, if that makes sense. So and then I think it sets up really well. You've got 2 big righties in Hoffman and Kirkering as setup guys or leverage guys in the 5th and 6th, and you've got 2 big lefties in Alvarado, and Mick said, and he's right, Alvarado's got to be more consistent, and then you have Strom, who needs to be the same thing. He's super aggressive. So you got 2. It sets up really well. So that for me, and I think for Mick and we're used to that game. It's really exciting to see because it's easy to predict with the manager what he's going to do. You know who's coming in, bang, 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 here comes Estevez, game over. And then you just repeat, put it on repeat. That's the idea.
Mickey, the Phillies moved 2 late-inning pieces of the bullpen when they traded Sir Anthony Dominguez to Baltimore and then later traded Gregory Soto to Baltimore. They replaced Soto with Tanner Banks, a lefty from the White Sox. Is that where he was?
I think so, yes.
Yeah. So what do you think of that exchange, Mick?
I actually liked getting rid of those 2 guys, to be honest with you. They were very inconsistent. Severino was not the same guy after he got hurt. Hadn't been the same guy, very inconsistent, throwing strikes. And Soto, he was a hard thrower that had no idea where it was going pretty much. Very inconsistent. So I had no trouble with moving those 2 guys. We got Estevez and Banks in return. So I think we got a better bullpen now as long as Strom, Hoffman, and Alvarez get their things straightened out and get back to where they were.
Mickey and Kevin, we're going to have to take a break here, but I like what I saw of Colby Allard and Tyler Phillips so far. I mean, I think they've got some heart there. I don't know that you can count on them in the postseason, but they've given us a couple of good starts. We'll get your opinion on that. But our producer, Chris Ermer, tells us it's time for the first commercial break on tonight's Independence Blue Cross Bull Session on WBCB 1490 AM and 107.3 FM.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. The summer of shellfish is back. Indulge in our sweet and spicy sticky lobster tails with cilantro and lime. Enjoy Chicky and Pete's chilled crab tacos, bursting with snowy white lump crab meat. Treat yourself to our mouth-watering seafood boil with crab legs, shrimp, clams, mussels, and more. Or dive into our tasty seasonal herb mussels, prepared to perfection in our delicious, zesty broth. It's the summer of shellfish, only at Chickies and Pete's.
Close out your summer in style at Team Toyota during the national sales event. We have new Toyota inventory ready to drive home today, including Camrys, RAV4s, and Tundras. And with over 200 certified used Toyotas, you can find the right fit for you. Or for your budget with 75 used cars under $20,000. Plus, our service departments are giving back this August with donations to kids in need for every oil change and tire rotation. Visit one of our 3 locations in Princeton, Langhorne, or Glen Mills, or online at teamtoyota.net.
At Independence Blue Cross, we take care of the people who take care of you. Everyday heroes like firefighters, police officers, teachers, farmers, and healthcare workers. Doctors and hospitals across the region have IBX, and they know what it means to have reliable access to care. So whether you're saving lives or just trying to live a healthier life, count on IBX, the region's #1 health insurer for 85 years. Learn more at IBX.com.
Bringing in top talent is as easy as 1, 2, Key. SEPTA Key Advantage is a unique and valuable transit benefit program that gives your employees all-day, everyday access to the entire SEPTA system. That means your staff can get into the office, over to a meeting, and out for the night, seamlessly and affordably, all thanks to you. Learn how easy it is to customize a SEPTA Key Advantage program for your team at SEPTA.org/partner programs. That's SEPTA.org/partner programs.
Is your home sad, lonely, and depressed? Feeling like the last house on a dead-end road? Your home may be suffering from muddy gutter syndrome. A simple call to the Delaware Valley Gutter Monkeys is the first step in the solution to muddy gutter syndrome, a medically recognized condition. Millions of homes suffer in silence from this disease, but now there's help. Break this silence and call the Delaware Valley Gutter Monkeys at 215-942-9200.
Give us a call and we'll professionally clean and repair your gutters. We'll make sure your whole roof drainage system is functioning properly and give your home our 10-point topside inspection. Visit us at DelawareValleyGutterMonkeys.com or call 215-942-9200 and we'll return your call the very same day.
Gutter cleaning by the Delaware Valley Gutter Monkeys may result in bright smiles, excessive happiness, joyous lawn dancing, and overzealous celebration. On rare occasions, cartwheels and backflips have occurred. A Delaware Valley Gutter Monkey treatment is safe for women who are pregnant or trying to become pregnant. Gutter cleaning may not be right for everyone. Only people whose homes who actually have gutters.
Visit us at DelawareValleyGutterMonkeys.com.
No monkeys were harmed in the making of this commercial.
We now return to the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session presented by SEPTA. Once again, here are your hosts, Phillies PA announcer Dan Baker and Mickey Morandini.
Special guest tonight, former Phillies shortstop Kevin Stacker, and now one of our wonderful radio analysts on Phillies play-by-play. Kevin shares that role with Larry Anderson, one of the best who ever did it for the Phils, and we've got another terrific analyst in Kevin Stacker.
Thanks,
Kevin,
Dan.
really glad to have you back.
Thank you.
You know, I told you a couple of years ago, because I have a lot of friends on the Phillies broadcast team, and they said Phils really want Kevin Stacker. I said, oh, that's great, because, you know, Kevin was the analyst for, like, was it Pac-10 or Pac-12?
Yeah, Pac-12,
on
ESPN,
TV.
Right.
Right. And I had heard some of your work, and I thought, wow, you know, what an asset. And plus, you know, like Mickey, you know, wonderful Phillies background, personable, knowledgeable, and I think I shared with you that I heard that you're the choice, and you said, well, nobody told me. I forget. At the time, I think the Phillies went to a shared, greater than just home and away. It was.
Right. You know, that was quite a while ago. That was back in like 16. I think you were there, Mick, 15, 16, and they had Moyer and Stairs and trying to figure out the booth and who was going to come and go. And it was it was a great time. It wasn't the right time, I don't think, for me. I mean, I still had 3 kids in high school, and I wanted to be there and so forth. Now, in saying that, as soon as I got done and said no and didn't want to do any of that stuff, my kids were like, okay, and I never saw my kids again. They went with their friends. One kid quit baseball, another kid, it was like, okay. But it worked out great, and so I'm really happy to be part of the broadcast team now on radio. Yeah, it's worked out great.
Well, we're happy to have you, and we're happy to have Mickey Morandini as ambassador. Mick, we don't talk about this often, but you're out almost every day representing the Phillies in the community. Could you just run through some of the different roles that you play in this position?
Yeah, I mean, we do charity golf tournaments like we did today for the foundation, but more importantly, not more importantly, but more often, I do a lot of stuff out in the community, visit schools, hospitals. We went to a park in a bad neighborhood the other day and did some painting and cleanup for them. And then I go to the ballpark and visit suites, talk to sponsors, fans, and we do a lot of stuff at the ballpark. I go to the yard and, play with kids and things like that. So they keep me very busy. It's a great job. It's me, Milt Thompson, and Dickie Knowles, and a lot of times we do things together. Other times they kind of split us up. But it's a great job. I get to kind of make my own hours. If I want to go out and see my kids for a week or so, they're like, go ahead and go. You're fine. And I've been doing it for, I think, 6 or 7 years now, and I love it. It's a great job.
Well, let's get an update on your kids and Kevin's kids. Mickey, starting with you, and of course, we were having fun last week because when I introduced Mickey to throw out the first ball before one of the games in the last Phillies homestand, representing the United States Olympic team, because he's a gold medalist from '88, and I said he was accompanied by former Miss Indiana, Peg Morandini. So that was news to both Mickey and
That was news to me, yeah.
But,
I could see it.
And this is another guy that's... Brooke is like a model too. I mean, my goodness, you guys certainly.
Yeah, you're way.
I did not marry Miss Washington.
Hey, listen, I make no apology. My wife is wonderful. She's beautiful. She's been everything in a wife anything you could ever ask for in a wife. So I don't say that in any way diminishing the good fortune that I have had. But I remember years ago, Chris Wheeler said there is with the Phillies wives section where they sit for a game, and I think Chris and I were talking. I said, "Boy, Chris, there's a lot of good-looking women in there." He said, "Yeah, Dan, there's no dogs in that game." But anyway, let's hear about your families, Mickey. Why don't you share with our live audience and listening audience what your children are doing?
Yeah, I have my oldest is named Jordan. He's 29, going to be 30 soon. That's really hard to believe. We're going to have a 30-year-old. But he works for a social media company out of his townhome. He's doing great, loves Indianapolis. And then my middle son, Griffin, he's 27. He lives in Chicago. Works for a social media company similar to what Jordan does. He's doing great. And then my youngest just started medical school in Boston at Tufts University. Started a couple weeks ago, and we're actually going to drive up there this weekend. He's getting his white coat ceremony, so they give that to all the freshmen. Wow. So yeah, it's a big day for him, and family's all gonna meet up there in Boston for the weekend. Unfortunately, I have to miss alumni weekend this weekend, but I think the white coat ceremony is just a little more important.
Holy
but yeah, they're all doing good, and the only tough part is they're kind of scattered here, so it's they're a little too far away for us, but hopefully they can get a little closer here.
Well, our daughter Courtney went to Boston College undergrad, of course, where Tufts University is, and she's now living in Houston. Okay. She's home visiting with us for a couple of weeks, but she and her husband and our 2 grandchildren live in Houston, Texas now. It's quite a distance. And our son Darren went to LaSalle undergrad, Wilmington University Graduate School, and So he is close by. He and his wife live in Mount Laurel, and they have a place on the beach in
Okay.
Wildwood Crest. Kevin, tell us about your children.
My kid, let's see. My daughter, born here in Philadelphia, 27, almost 28, getting married in first week of September. So, yeah.
It's close.
Yeah, so I have one more road trip, and then we come back, and then I fly out to, they're in Portland, Oregon, so we're going to get her married. And then she's getting married and moving to Atlanta. She's going to be getting her PhD at Emory University, so she's a smarty pants. And then my middle guy, Logan, who was born down in St. Petersburg, Florida, down in Tampa, he's in New York, lives there. He's worked for Suit Supply right out of fashion school, so he's doing great doing that. And then my youngest son is 24, lives in Phoenix, and he's a professional golfer. So he's been up on the PGA Tour Americas, so right now they're on the Canada swing. The Canadian swing, so he's been up there, trying to become a golfer and do that. So, yeah, that's it.
Well,
That's the
it
scoop.
doesn't. I'm sure it doesn't surprise any of you in our audience at Chickies and Pete's in Eagleville, PA, that these two fine gentlemen and their wives have produced such a successful family. Kevin,
Yes.
when you go back to Seattle, Washington, any special feeling? Of course, that's where University of Washington is
Sure.
located.
Yeah, like we were just there on this last road trip, so it's always nice to go back to the Pacific Northwest. It's very different than here. It's just much more spread out. It's a different atmosphere. And I'm not saying it's better. It's just different. I have family there, so it's always nice to see family and that sort of thing. But we have, my kids are scattered like Mick's are. My kids are all over, New York, Phoenix, Portland. And we were up in Spokane, Washington, and it was just time. This gig came at a great time. We were kind of ready to get out to the other, back over here and try it out. So, but yeah, I get out there. I got a lot of friends and family, so it's always nice to go out there. But remember, we go out there now. I'm not going out there when it's raining and miserable in January and February. I'm done with that. So, anyway, doesn't mean I'm going to stay here, I guess, huh? Because I guess it's
Well, you're going to stay here until you're done broadcasting.
Well, yeah, but in
which
the
could
off
be
season,
30 years.
yeah.
from now.
But in the off season, maybe we'll go somewhere warm. Yeah, so we'll see.
Hey, the Mariners did us a favor over this weekend. Didn't they just sweep the Mets 3 straight?
Did they really?
If
They
I'm
did.
not mistaken.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that right? Or, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, thumbs up. They're giving you the thumbs up.
Okay.
Thumbs up, yep.
Okay, so, and of course the Phillies come home tomorrow night, Tuesday, August 13th. They have 2 games with the Miami Marlins, followed by 4 with the Washington Nationals, and that includes Wall of Fame night on Saturday, Alumni Day on Sunday, when we'll see a lot of old friends. For me, that's the most exciting weekend year in and year out, to see a lot of guys like yourselves who start for the team at one time come back and receive adulation from the fans who appreciate everything that you contributed. You guys, of course, are still contributing in a different way now, but when you think back, how about that 93 team that these guys were such an important part of, that got us to the World Series, beat the Braves in the NLCS. Nobody thought they would beat the Braves. They did, and took a Joe Carter walk-off to prevent the Phillies from winning the World Series in 1993. We have another half of the Independence Blue Cross, and we'll be back with it in just a moment.
Hi, it's Pete from Chickie and Pete's. It's summertime, the perfect time to relax and enjoy one of our handcrafted signature summer cocktails. They're bursting with fruit flavor. Try our Blackberry Gin Fizz, Blueberry Blitz, Spicy Watermelon Margarita, Peach Cosmo, Strawberry Aperol Spritz, Beach Cruiser, or Patriot Punch. Sip, savor, and enjoy. Delectable summer cocktails only from Chickies and Pete's.
Close out your summer in style at Team Toyota during the national sales event. We have new Toyota inventory ready to drive home today, including Camrys, RAV4s, and Tundras. And with over 200 certified used Toyotas, you can find the right fit for you. or for your budget with 75 used cars under $20,000. Plus, our service departments are giving back this August with donations to kids in need for every oil change and tire rotation. Visit one of our 3 locations in Princeton, Langhorne, or Glen Mills, or online at teamtoyota.net.
At Independence Blue Cross, we take care of the people who take care of you. Everyday heroes like firefighters, police officers, teachers, farmers, and healthcare workers. Doctors and hospitals across the region have IBX, and they know what it means to have reliable access to care. So whether you're saving lives or just trying to live a healthier life, count on IBX, the region's #1 health insurer for 85 years. Learn more at IBX.com.
I SEPTA Philly. I SEPTA Philly. I SEPTA Philly.
I take SEPTA so I never miss tip-off.
I do not have time to deal with traffic.
I don't have a car.
Do you know how expensive parking is?
I take the Broad Street line to all the games.
I ride the bus.
I ride the train and the subway.
I set my lineup when I ride.
I check Twitter, text my buddies.
I watch sports highlights or lowlights.
For real Philly fans, SEPTA is the hometown way to go. Ride with us at iseptaphilly.com.
Payroll Service Solutions was established in 2001 to cater to the payroll needs of small to medium-sized businesses. Payroll Service Solutions offers unparalleled customer service while they deliver a complete and accurate payroll. When calling Payroll Service Solutions, you will never be put into a voicemail or go through a series of prompts to get to a person. All customer service representatives are extensively trained to handle all of your payroll needs, therefore saving you time. They value each and every one of their clients. No account is too small. Call Payroll Service Solutions today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for a no-obligation review of your payroll needs. That number again is 1-866-PAYEASY. Payroll Service Solutions.
We now return to the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session presented by SEPTA. Once again, here are your hosts, Phillies PA announcer Dan Baker and Mickey Morandini.
Special guest Kevin Stocker, former Phillies shortstop on the 93 National League champions. And Mickey and I are honored to have Kevin with us. And you listen to Kevin all year long on the Phillies broadcast. He's doing a terrific job with Scott Fransky. I wanted to mention a good friend who contributed much to the Philadelphia sports community, who passed away last week, the great Joe Hand. Joe Hand was part of the Cloverlay boxing group that was the management team for former heavyweight champion of the world, Joe Frazier. And Mr. Hand passed away last week. His services, they're going to have a 3-hour viewing, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at St. Bede the Venerable Church up on Holland Road in Holland, Pennsylvania. I will be there to pay respects to their wonderful family. Joe Hand Jr., the daughter. Unfortunately, Joe Hand Sr.'s wife passed away a couple of years ago. What a great family. By the way, Mickey and Kevin, this man was like the king of closed-circuit television.
Really?
All the closed-circuit fights across the country went through Joe Hand. So, and then and of course, he did very well with it. But he's given so much back to the community. He has things for autistic children, and he has computer labs for inner city kids, that maybe don't have the same opportunity with the technical equipment. And he just does terrific things. So anyway, to all of the Hand family, please accept our condolences, and I will see a lot of you there tomorrow. we're fortunate tonight to be here at Chickies and Pete's in Audubon, Pennsylvania, Eagleville, PA. And we're right across the street from where the first Philly to ever win a Gold Glove lives, Bobby Wine. It's right up the street. And Bobby has joined us, Kevin and Mickey, in the past when we've visited this location as the host of one of our shows. Kevin, were you always a shortstop in college as well?
Yes.
And, okay.
Yep.
And was there, and I want to ask Mickey this question too, was there a mentor who kind of guided you and helped you? And obviously you've got to have quickness and a lot of athleticism at that position. And so are you self-taught?
No.
Was there somebody that really played a role in your development?
Well, I came from a family of four, a twin sister and two older brothers. We were athletic family. It was either that, it was always about, kicking out, go out and play. So we did that. But I think coming up, my father and stuff was our coach, and back then you played all the sports, and I think Mickey probably played, I'm sure he played more than just one. You played a lot of different sports and did things. It wasn't really until I got to college that I had, and most of it's going to be coaching. So my college coach, who was a hard-nosed, old-time coach, yell and scream. I had to get used to that. Taught me how to be tough, but really taught me also some things that were, the basics and fundamentals of baseball. Those items, take that, I got drafted, and then guys like Bill Dancy, who was a coach of mine at Clearwater, at A-Ball, taught me a lot about how to be, how to get to the next level, because it's faster, a little faster at each level. I think Bill, I learned a lot from Bill on how to be a professional baseball player, believe it or not, just in the minor leagues. And then as you get up and go on, it's always about your coaches. Eventually at the big league level, Larry was there, Larry Boa was there. You learn a lot from Larry on how to stay in the big leagues. So each level, it's kind of those type of people were probably my mentors. And that's because that's going to college is kind of the time that I chose baseball. As opposed to basketball, I didn't want to play. I could have played college basketball, but smaller schools. Once I got just baseball, it became those coaches that really got me to the next level.
How about you, Mickey? Who was your guiding influence positionally for baseball?
Yeah, similar path that Kevin took. I mean, when I was young, all I did was go outside and play. Tons of wiffle ball. Tons of throwing the ball off the wall or throwing the ball off the garage and catching it, throwing the ball in the air. Me and my brother would play all kind of baseball games together in the yard. That's where I developed the skills, especially defensively. And as Kevin said, then when you get to college, I had, as he did, a really tough college coach. It really pushed me. And then the minor leagues, I had Bill Dancy in AAA. Excellent coach, demanding coach. And then once again, Larry in the big leagues and Vuk in the big leagues and those types of guys. And as Kevin said, they help you stay in the big leagues there. Sometimes it's a lot easier to get to the big leagues than it is to stay there. So we were fortunate. We played a lot of years in the big leagues, and a lot of it had to do with Larry and Vuk.
Now, did Kyle Schwarber also play at IU?
He did.
Were any of the same coaches still there when Kyle played as when you were there?
No, they were all gone, yeah. Mine was Bob Morgan, and I'm not sure what year he moved on. But yeah, Kyle was a lot younger than I am.
A lot
younger.
Oh man!
So,
look who's talking here. Both of these guys, my goodness, it looks like Father Time has been very kind to them.
Well, he's still young. This one here.
I'm not that much younger than you.
What are you? 54.
54.
I'm 58. I'm
twice years.
4 years.
I'm
My
twice Kyle
goodness.
Schwarber's age.
Oh, you both look terrific, and that bodes well as you become a little bit older. It's nice to be thought of as looking younger.
Yeah.
I think that's a nice problem that you guys are going to have the rest of your lives. So
I was
be happy for it.
Yeah. So speaking of that, I was in Rob Thompson's office the other day, and I've been going into his office for a year and a half now. And he's great. So the broadcasters, it's us. We sit down and we get chit-chatting. And I said something about my daughter getting married, and she's 27. And he goes, "Wait, you have a 27-year-old?" He goes, "There's no way you're that. How old are you?" He had no idea. And I said, "Yeah, I got 24, 26, 26. He goes, he kind of shook his head like, "What? You can't be. How old are you?" Like he had no clue. And I'm like, "Geez, Rob, how old do you think I am?"
Right.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. So Yeah, you just never know.
That's a real nice compliment.
It was.
People
Oh
say
yeah, I'm going to
things
ride
like
that for a long time.
Well,
Yep.
listen, let's give you a chance to reciprocate if you want. How about the job, Mickey, that Rob Thompson has done as Phillies manager? In my 52 years as public address announcer, the Phillies have had many outstanding managers. This guy might be right at the top of the list. Statistically, if you look at his winning percentage and what he's accomplished in a short time. And also, there's a second part of this question, and Mickey, after you respond, I'd ask Kevin if he could please do the same. What do you do if you're Rob Thompson and, the team is struggling, and one of his strong traits to me has been, since his time as Phillies manager, his first managerial position in the major leagues, he doesn't push the panic button.
Yeah.
He just stays the course, and I think it served the Phillies well. Do you do the same here, or is there any other strategy, Mickey, that the Phillies manager should be employing with this little bit of a downturn that we've had?
Well, I think the team is a reflection of their manager. So I think if Rob's showing some fear or doubt, then the team's going to show that. But Rob's pretty laid back. He has a veteran team. They control the clubhouse for the most part, I think. But Stock will be able to talk to this more than I, because I don't go into the clubhouse. But I think Rob just lets them be themselves. And I guess from what I understand, Kyle Schwarber is a really good clubhouse guy that takes command in that clubhouse, and they've got a lot of veterans there. And I'm sure they're not pushing the panic button. Some guys may be pressing a little bit on the field, but I don't think there's any panic. And Rob has done a tremendous job. He's not afraid to, I think he's their friend in a way, but he's also a manager that he's not afraid to take guys out. He's not afraid to pinch hit for guys or mix the lineup up or whatever. And I think he manages a lot from the gut, whereas opposed to the last couple managers we had managed from a piece of paper. So I think Rob's done a tremendous job. And, he doesn't push the panic button, and I don't think the team is either. But he might be able to talk to that.
I think that's a terrific way to put it. He's going to let the guys in the clubhouse handle a lot of it. If there's ever an issue with a player or anything like that, whatever it might be, not running a ball out or he wants this, wants that, his door is open and guys can come in, or he'll have them come in and talk to him like men. He doesn't talk down to him. He just manages every day and understands the ups and downs of the game, the frustrations of the game as well. So he gets all that. So I think Rob has done a terrific job. From a personal standpoint, what I love about Rob is, and I know Mickey's the same way. If Mick sits down or I sit down and watch a game or I call a game, you want to be able to think along with the manager. What's he going to do? So you can anticipate. As a player, you love that. Rob is pretty good at that. So as a broadcaster, I can go into his door and close the door and say, hey, explain to me why you're doing this. And he will, right? And he trusts me to know that, whatever he says is between us at certain times. So there's a lot of trust with Rob. So he trusts his players. And what they give back to him is they work their tail off. They're in there every day. If somebody's slacking, Kyle Schwarber will go say something. It used to be Rhys Hoskins. He was that guy. He's no longer here, of course. So guys have stepped up. So, I like that about Rob.
We have one more commercial break. When you have good guests, these shows go quickly. And I hope you wonderful fans are finding them as enjoyable as me. We'll be right back with Mickey Morandini, Kevin Stocker, and me, Dan Baker, after these messages.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. The summer of shellfish is back with all your favorites, including our sensational seafood boil, sticky lobster tails, chilled crab tacos, seasonal herb mussels, seafood pasta, and more. Full menu at chickiesandpete's.com. Plus, don't miss our incredible buy one, get one snow crab legs every Tuesday and Wednesday. It's Summer of Shellfish only at Chickies and Pete's.
SEPTA offers a variety of career opportunities. Our core business is transit, and with 5 modes of service, we rely on and need operators, engineers, and conductors. But it takes a host of other specialties, including mechanics, electricians, plumbers, masons, painters, carpenters, welders, and more to keep the system moving. As an employee, you will earn competitive compensation and great benefits, including medical, dental, prescription, and a pension. Visit jobs.septa.org to apply today. That's jobs.septa.org.
At Independence Blue Cross, we take care of the people who take care of you. Everyday heroes like firefighters, police officers, teachers, farmers, and healthcare workers. Doctors and hospitals across the region have IBX, and they know what it means to have reliable access to care. So whether you're saving lives or just trying to live a healthier life, count on IBX, the region's #1 health insurer for 85 years. Learn more at IBX.com.
We now return to the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session presented by SEPTA. Once again, here are your hosts, Phillies PA announcer Dan Baker and Mickey Morandini.
And we're joined by the shortstop on the 1993 National League champions, Kevin Stocker, now Phillies radio analyst. And we're talking Phillies baseball on WBCB 1490 AM, 107.3 FM. And we are with you most Mondays from 6 to 7, broadcast live. When the Phillies are home on a Monday evening, we tape the show at 12 noon, from 12 noon to 1 p.m. at Chickies and Pete's flagship at 15th and Packer in South Philadelphia. So, we have, about 45 games left or something like that.
Yep.
And most of the season's behind us. And Mickey, I think you were pointing out that, or Kevin, even though there's been some agita the last couple of weeks, the Phillies still lead the Braves by 7.5 and the Mets by 8. Boy, if somebody told you before the season, then on August the 12th, you're going to be 7.5 and 8 up over the next 2 teams. You take that, wouldn't you, Mickey?
Absolutely, with 45 games to play. And I kind of look at it, if we play 500 ball for 45, let's say we go 22 and 22, it means the Braves or the Mets have to go 29 and 15. That's hard to do. So we're fine. We'll get through this. It's a good homestand for us. We got the Marlins and the Nationals. Nationals are a little better team now than they used to be, but hopefully we can win. Let's say we're playing 6-game homestand, go at least 4-2, maybe 5-1, and get back on track.
I like it.
Kevin, how about you? As we have less than a third of the season to go. Excuse me. Is that about where we are?
40 games?
Yeah, something like that.
Quarter of a season?
81 would be half, so we're down to, the 40s. It's more like a quarter of the season.
Yeah.
Do you feel pretty good about where we are, Kevin?
I do. I as far as the playoffs, I don't think that's something. I mean, they're in. It's just a matter of, how are they playing at the stretch? And I think a lot of that has to do with who is healthy. So that is why, we saw on this road trip, there was a case where JT didn't come and pinch hit or he takes a day off, and people are like out of their mind. And it's like, look, we're going to be in the playoffs. We need JT to be there, in other words. So they're super protective. It's not just Rob. It also comes from Dave. As a team, they're protective of their players right now because they just know how important health is. Ranger will be back. They need Ranger back. Not because of his bad back. See what I did there?
I did.
Yeah. So, but he'll get back.
These veteran broadcasters here.
So anyway, but he'll get back. Hopefully, Taiwan can be back. And then once those get set, you want them hot at the end of the month. So I don't think the question is whether or not they're going to be in the playoffs. It's just, are they going to be at full strength and on all cylinders? And I think they will be.
Well, you have to collectively what the team has accomplished to this point. Mickey and Kevin, I think another bonus about the good start that the Phillies got off to, they've had a chance to let Ranger Suarez heal.
Right.
JT Real Muto, Bryce Harper when he had a hamstring, Trey Turner. So even though they've been shorthanded, and by the way, how about how shorthanded the Braves are? But the fact that these guys can get healthy again, this still isn't the JT Real Muto that we're accustomed to. He had a couple of good hits the other night in that first game of the series against Arizona, a double down the left field line and the long home run to left center. But he has not been hitting with the authority that we're accustomed to seeing the Phillies catcher produce offensively. And so I think that has been another blessing, Mickey and Kevin, that the Phillies have been able to rest some of these guys. And even Zach Wheeler got a little bit of a break there for a while. And now Taijuan Walker's coming back. He'll start tomorrow. And it'll be interesting to see. What do you expect from him, Mickey? What do you think we'll see?
Well, I saw a report where he's got his split finger back, or he was throwing it better. I think that was the big issue for him. He wasn't throwing his split finger for strikes or getting swings and misses on it. So if that's working, then I would imagine he'll go out there and pitch pretty well. But my one concern for this team is if they have a big lead with a few weeks left, I hope Rob doesn't rest a lot of guys because baseball is a rhythm sport. You got to get into a rhythm at the plate, throwing strikes, command, and things like that. And you already, if you win your division, you're going to get 4, 5, 6 days off because of the wild card teams playing. So that's going to be a big break as it is. So I hope Rob, if we do have a big lead, can continue to play these guys and get them in rhythm. Maybe he'll go to a 6-man rotation down the end and give guys an extra day. But I don't want to see these guys have a lot of rest from games, heading into the playoffs. Because it hasn't worked out for the Dodgers. It hasn't worked out for the Braves. It hasn't worked out for who had huge leads going down the stretch, and they've been awful in the playoffs.
Kevin, a shortstop question for you.
Sure.
There were a couple of shallow flies to left in the Arizona series that I thought Trey Turner got bad breaks on. I really thought they were catchable by the shortstop. Am I wrong in thinking that he should have caught those? Is he not playing as well defensively? Is he maybe not quite the defensive? And by the way, he's a great shortstop, and I think it's a great signing. And he's a gamer. And look what he's done offensively. But it just seems to me he got like bad breaks on balls.
Yeah. So to address that, there were a couple of bloopers that fell in. Now, one thing with Trey, and it's hard because of the angle of the TV and so forth. They would have had to have been really good plays. Because especially there with the dome and it's closed, if you take your eyes off, you lose it, right? And I'm not saying he did that, and Mick knows when you go back for a ball that's over your head, the idea is that you have to turn and kind of pick a spot where you read really quick where it's going to be, then you get there and re-find it. One thing about Trey, and it's very different with Stott, they have one characteristic that is different between the two of them. Bryson going back for a ball is uber aggressive, super aggressive, because he's got Castellanos back there who's not quite as fast coming in, right? Going back toward right field. But Bryson has always been aggressive. Trey is a little bit more gingerly going back. He's not nearly as aggressive going back. Whatever it is, whether it was a collision in the past, that's just how he is. The left fielder, whether it's Marsh, whether it's, Austin out there, whoever it is, they have to know that they've got to come in harder with Trey. That's just how he plays. The other thing about Trey is he throws. I'm not real happy with the way he throws. He throws underhand on all of his routine plays. And I don't know why they allow him to do that. That's just how he is. So people, I understand, they always talk about Trey is shortstop, but he didn't come here to be just a shortstop. So I like to think of Trey as this total package of hit, run, short. He's playing short, all of that together. But unlike a Rojas, who's really a defender first, right? Trey is not quite that way. But there are ways for him to improve. And one of those things, I'd love to see him change his throwing motion on routine plays typically on great plays right and left, he does great because you don't have time to think, and Mick knows what that's like. With the ball right at you, you have to be able to come through it and work. And Trey doesn't really do that. He sits back a little bit more and then tries to sling it underhand. I'm not real happy with that, and I think that's some of his woes when it comes to throwing errors.
Mickey and Kevin, as we go down the stretch, are we going to look toward the same leaders to carry us across the finish line? Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, or is Zach Wheeler? Is there somebody else that that you think could also help lead the way and might step up in this crucial period of the season?
I mean, for me, it's your stars. That's what you need. You need your stars to lead you down that path, and it's Harper, it's Turner, and it's Schwarber offensively, and it's Wheeler and Nola from the pitching standpoint. Those five guys, if they're playing well, we're going to win a lot of ball games. So there's going to be a few guys. Hopefully Stott can get it going a little bit, and Castellanos can continue to be consistent. But you need your stars to play well.
Yeah, it just doesn't change for me. It's the same way. Their process is going to be those guys are going to hit, these guys are going to pitch. Remember, when you get into the playoffs and you win games, you're really using three pitchers, right? So I think Ranger's going to have to step into that role, and hopefully he will get back, be healthy. And if he does that, those three are so good when they're locked in and focused. They go 6-7 innings, and then again back to setting up the bullpen. But yeah, your stars have to shine.
One other thing, Mickey Morandini and Kevin Stocker, that I'm hoping for is that we do get one of the two best records in the National League, so we don't have to play that first wild card matchup. Do you think that's likely, Kevin?
Oh, I absolutely do. Yeah. Where are they now? Second or third? Second right now, I think, right?
I think we're second.
Somewhere in there. I mean, they're just short of 70 wins.
We're tied with the Dodgers.
Yeah. I do think that's important. I don't know that's the most important, but clearly you want to keep winning in it. But they're not thinking about – they're not going in there thinking we have to have the best record because of this. They're just trying to win series. 2 out of 3, 3 out of 4, whatever it is. If they do that, then that'll be the result, which I think would be great. Very possible.
Mickey, why don't we end with you?
Yeah, it's just how good they play in the playoffs at home. I mean, the crowd is one of the best crowds in all of baseball. So I think it is important to get some sort of home field advantage because they are just lights out at home. And we have a good chance to do that. So cross your fingers that we can stay healthy down the stretch and get some momentum going into the playoffs.
Fans, you Phillies fans, what did you think of Mickey Morandini and Kevin Stocker? For producer Chris Ermer, I'm Dan Baker. We'll see you next week on the Independence Blue Cross Bulls session.
You're listening to 1490 WBCB and on your FM.